Chapter 745. Seeing that the three of them had returned with many contracts, Chairman Tian smiled in relief. He turned to Li Yu, who was still looking at the terrain. Lord Li, actually, it's okay to build more. After all, people who do business have a conscience. If they can do more good for the people, they should do more. Really? Li Yu didn't expect Chairman Tian to be so easy to talk to. He was wondering if he should add more money. For people like him, no matter how much money he had, it was better to build a good reputation. If he didn't have money, he could ask others for money. If he really couldn't do it, he still had an adopted elder brother. Seeing Chairman Tian nod with a smile, Li Yu said happily, "Good, I like businessmen with a conscience. Making money is one thing, but you can't just think about money for the sake of making money. You should at least think about the people like Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. Oh, let's not talk about them. They are officials. For example, between the clouds and the water, they are doing very well." Chairman Tian could earn more money now, so he naturally wouldn't refute Li Yu's words. Between the clouds and the water was still owned by the Zhang family and the Wang family. What was the difference? As he followed Li Yu forward, he gave a look to the people beside him, indicating that they should go out and take a look. He then whispered to the person closest to him, "There are no more businessmen in this county. We can go to other counties to take a look. Lure them here and reduce the tax. For example, 30% or even 20% is good. The more prosperous the county, the more they earn, and the more money we will have." "Chairman, I'll go arrange it now." The person who received the order agreed and found an excuse to leave. He hired a carriage and rushed to another county as fast as he could. Li Yu pretended not to notice their little tricks. Xiao Chong also turned a blind eye. He now admired Zhang Xiaobao even more. The proposal had already mentioned this point. It could be said that he had foreseen the enemy first. While they were looking at the terrain, the Yamen of Chongning County posted a notice. Regardless of whether they could read or not, they should come closer to take a look. Those who could read would have to explain it to others. A large group of people had gathered at the spot closest to the entrance of the Yamen, which was used to post notices. A man dressed like a scholar stood at the front. The people around him gave up their spots to him as a sign of respect. No one squeezed past him and waited for him to read the words on the notice. This county has issued a new regulation. Those who are required to pay taxes and refuse to pay with any excuse will be forcibly collected by bailiffs. Depending on their attitude, they will be punished by 3 to 5 times the amount. I hope that all merchants in this county will remember this. That's it, just this one. It was also a kind of honor to be respected by so many illiterate people. Of course, it depended on the place. If it was in Sanshui County, no one would need him to read it. If it was in Sanshui County, no one would need him to read it. If there were children at home who had studied in school for 2 years, they could just bring them out. The people thought that it was a big deal, but when they saw that it was only for merchants to take the initiative to pay taxes in time, they were very disappointed. They sighed and dispersed. "Chairman Tian, how about we go from here to the river? There are several small rivers in front of us that can be connected. It will be convenient to use water when the time comes. It won't be troublesome to make the rivers wider." Li Yu led the crowd to another place. He looked around and took out the map in his hand. After carefully comparing it, he said to Chairman Tian of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce. Chairman Tian still had a reserved smile on his face. "If Lord Li says it's okay, then it's okay. The map in your hand seems to be more detailed than the one used for the game. Can I have a look?" When Chairman Tian agreed, he glanced at the map in Li Yu's hand and found that there was something wrong with it. He also wanted a copy. Li Yu quickly closed the map and refused directly. "No, even if I show it to you, do you really dare to look at it? This is a military map. Of course it's detailed. After all, I'm also the military secretary of the province. That's why I have a map." Li Yu found an excuse for himself. In fact, he didn't have a map. In the whole Tang Empire, there were only 2 places that had a proper military map. One was the palace in the capital, and the other was the Zhang family and the Wang family. It was good enough that Zhang Xiaobao gave him a copy of Chongning's map. Even so, this map lacked notes. For example, when the horses walked on a certain place, whether it was difficult to walk, or what materials could be used when climbing a mountain. These were all missing. When Chairman Tian heard that it was a military map, he really wanted a copy. However, he didn't dare to. Why would a businessman want a military map? Chairman Tian nodded regretfully and didn't mention the map again. He continued to wander around with Li Yu. 2 days later, where to build roads and where to open rivers were all discussed. The people of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce immediately transferred money and hired the local people to start working. This time, the people also knew that there was a chamber of commerce called Qianshi. They worked together with the county magistrate to do good things for the county. The chamber of commerce was good, but the county magistrate was better. Without the county magistrate, the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce wouldn't have come. In order to encourage the people to be more active, the Yamen posted a notice. It said that the idea of building roads with the Chamber of Commerce was proposed by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan of the Zhang family in Sanshui County. It asked people not to worry. Many people didn't know who the Zhang family in Sanshui County was, but the businessmen who had traveled the north and south knew. They bragged to others during meals. This time, the people knew that the Zhang family was very powerful, and their children were also very powerful. Wherever they went, they never did anything wrong. They were good to the people, good at making money, honest officials and rich officials. Yes, rich and honest officials. It was a magical combination of words. Knowing this, the enthusiasm of the people rose. They all signed up to build roads. Li Yu also followed the methods of the Zhang family, Wang family, and his brother. He used the money from the cooperation with the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce to pay the people. He was also responsible for a few meals a day. He also worked in shifts during the day and at night. Just when everything was going well, rumors started to spread in the county. Whether it was the tea house or the pub, many people were saying that the powerful Zhang Xiaobao of the Zhang family was at a disadvantage this time. The plan for Li Yu was wrong, and the people of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce took advantage of it. They cooperated with the local businessmen to avoid paying taxes. This kind of rumor caused the people to lose their confidence in Zhang Xiaobao. At the same time, it also caused the people to dislike Qianshi Chamber of Commerce. This was because Li Yu had been imitating Baoxin County for the past 2 days. Every day, he began to explain in detail to the people how much money the Yamen had, where it came from, and what to spend it on. He emphasized that the tax revenue would help the Yamen and the people in the county. After the transparent financial report was made public, the people hoped that the Yamen would have more money. This was because there were subsidies for the poor and all the houses in the county would be renovated within 5 years. Everyone was waiting for the Yamen to take out more money to help them repair their houses. After all, there was a lot of money now, but a portion of it was not for the county to use directly. It had to be handed over to the county. This was not Li Yu's fief, and he did not have any fief yet. Therefore, a part of the money could be kept in the county. More of it would be sent to the capital and rent. Even if there were some fools among the commoners, they could not resist the explanations of the smart people. They said that if the Millennium Chamber of Commerce did this, they would be able to make money and the Yamen would not be able to collect taxes. The more merchants they contacted, the poorer the county would be. The Qianshi Chamber of Commerce, who had just spent money on roads and rivers, became a profiteer in the eyes of the people. They were not good people. At the same time, they were disappointed in Zhang Xiaobao. How could such a powerful person lose to others? Chairman Tian did not expect things to turn out like this. In the beginning, Li Yu did not disclose the finances of the county. How could the people know how much money the Yamen had and what it was spending? If it was not disclosed, no matter how much the Chamber of Commerce did, the people would not know. Now, the good reputation that they had paid a lot of money for was gone. Chairman Tian had no choice but to find Li Yu and say, "Officially, can you stop the announcement every day? It is not good for the people to know too much. The people can do what they want, but they can't be made to know." "Stop. Why do we have to stop?" It's not a secret matter. This official believes that I am honest enough as an official. There's nothing that cannot be told to others about the matters of the yamen. Also, what you said was wrong. If the people don't understand what the officials want to do, how can the people wholeheartedly support them? Li Yu did not have any room for discussion. He explained the situation in Baoxin County to Chairman Tian. As long as the people understood what the officials wanted to do, they did not have to worry about not having enough people. The people in the county would follow suit. Just thinking about it made him excited. Chairman Tian felt that Li Yu did it deliberately. He thought that Li Yu knew that the Chencha Chamber of Commerce was cooperating with other merchants, but he found that the contents of the contract could not be changed. He could only silently endure it. However, he was not satisfied, so he came up with this idea to make the Chencha Chamber of Commerce lose its good reputation. Thinking of this, Chairman Tian said, "Official Li, if the Chencha Chamber of Commerce's reputation is ruined, the people will not be willing to hire. How can we do business then? Don't worry. As soon as the workshop starts construction, I will come immediately." It has been 8 days since we signed the contract, right? Li Yu promised. Then, he suddenly said something that made President Tian confused. Yes, it has been 8 days. In a few days, the workshop will start construction. Official Li, does the number of days have anything to do with the workshop? Chairman Tian asked in confusion. It has nothing to do with that, but it has something to do with the tax. According to the regulations of the county, merchants can delay paying the tax for 10 days. If they do not pay after 10 days, the punishment will be heavy. These days, no merchants have paid the tax. I am worried about them. Li Yu looked at Chairman Tian meaningfully and explained. Chapter 746. President Tian, come and take a look. Here are some maps with pottery. Which one do you think is the best place to dig? I'll send people there in these 3 iron mines. Li Yu didn't care what President Tian thought. He took out a map of Chongning County and showed it to President Tian. President Tian was still wondering why Li Yu wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he talked about taxes. Didn't he know that merchants who cooperated with the Chencha Chamber of Commerce didn't have to pay taxes? After being asked by Li Yu, he realized that it was a military map. He took a closer look and was disappointed. Turned out to be a game map. After looking at the map, President Tian chose a place that supplied pottery and an iron mine. He didn't care much about the quality. The main reason was that these 2 places were close to the workshop. Judging from the current situation, the Chencha Chamber of Commerce would have to repair the road to the place that supplied pottery and ore. He could save some money by choosing a place that was close to the workshop. Well, President Tian chose these 2 places. I'll have people arrange it in a while. The charcoal used for pottery will be supplied by a special chamber of commerce. President Tian, you can rest assured. Li Yu circled the 2 places on the map and said to President Tian, "There's one more thing. There will be many craftsmen from the capital who specialize in pottery. They have nothing to do with you. When you see them, don't think that I'll find other people to compete with you just after signing a contract with you. There's no such thing. If there are really powerful chambers of commerce that want to do the same business in the future, I'll be partial to you under the same conditions. After all, I've invested a lot of money here and I don't want to lose it. Well, it's almost noon. Why don't you stay for a meal before leaving?" President Tian was stunned again. He knew that Li Yu didn't want to have a meal with him and asked out of courtesy. It was nothing. After all, it was a meal. Perhaps Li Yu was unhappy because of the taxes. But what did he mean by many craftsmen from the capital? And what if he was partial to the Chencha Chamber of Commerce under the same conditions? Would he be partial to the other party? President Tian, who couldn't calm down, had to ask when Li Yu was about to send him off. "Lord Li, what are the craftsmen doing? Could it be that there are other chambers of commerce that have taken a fancy to this place?" Craftsmen. Those are the most outstanding craftsmen of our great Tang. After they finished participating in the competition in the capital, some of them were willing to stay behind and were arranged to live here. This place is close to the capital, and they don't do business here. Instead, they occupy a place here to study and improve pottery. As for the other chambers of commerce wanting to invest in the same business as the Millennium Chamber of Commerce, there was no such thing. I was just saying, if someone really came, I couldn't just drive them away. It was just like the restaurants in the county. Once there was a restaurant, there would be no one else in the county that could open a restaurant, right? President Tian, don't worry. I still have the same idea as before. As long as the conditions are the same, you won't suffer any losses. At the same time, I also guarantee that no matter how rich the person is, even if it's the Zhang family and the Wang family, I won't cooperate with them. Li Yu explained the situation to President Tian. Chairman Tian couldn't figure it out for a while, so he could only reply, "Okay, then I'll go back now and finish the work of the workshop as soon as possible. Take care. Come see the guest out." Li Yu stood up and escorted Chairman Tian to the door. He had the servants continue to escort him out while he returned, sat down on a chair and spoke to the screen. "Little worm, you can come out now. Did you see President Tian's expression just now? I saw it. He probably won't be able to sleep well tonight. Milord, are you really going to punish the merchants who worked with the Millennium Chamber of Commerce? At the very least, they'll have to pay 3 times the tax, and at the very most it'll be 5 times the tax. If you punish them all at once, they'll lose money from the business they did a few days ago." Little Worm worriedly asked as he came out from behind the screen. Li Yu nodded seriously. "Punish them. If they don't, the merchants will think of ways to evade the tax. This official wants the merchants of the county to know that if they want to make a fortune, they should do business properly. Don't always rely on crooked methods. If they're really capable, they can learn from the Zhang family and the Wang family and come up with more strange things." Seeing that Li Yu had made up his mind, Little Worm didn't try to persuade him anymore. However, he muttered in his heart, "If all the merchants can be like the Zhang family and the Wang family, the Tang Empire will be bustling. Every day, we'll see many new things that we've never seen before." Just as Little Worm had said, Chairman Tian began to feel restless the moment he returned to the house. He felt that the hot weather was unbearable, and that the chirping of cicadas was too noisy. He didn't like anything he saw, and even drinking water tasted bitter. One of the people from the Chamber of Commerce who went out came back. When he saw Chairman Tian, he asked with concern, "Chairman, did you talk to Li Yu? He's willing to take down the announcements every day." "Take down what?" "That's Li Yu's way of proving that he's honest. How can he take it down?" Chairman Tian fiercely shouted at the person who came back. The person was stunned. Normally, taxes were paid every half a month. It was a fixed amount, unlike some merchants who paid according to the quantity of goods. The owner of Shun Feng Pastry Restaurant was surnamed Wang. His name was Wang Sunfeng. He had named the restaurant after himself. Today was the day he was supposed to pay his taxes, because according to the half-a-month period it was just right. He had delayed it for 10 days. But he wasn't worried at all. Even though the waiter had already warned him not to offend the yamen, Wang Sunfeng still felt that he should wait and see. "Hurry up. It's going to rain soon. If the stalls outside can't sell, there will be more people coming in to eat. If anyone dares to slack off, I'll deduct their wages." Looking at the sky outside, Wang Sunfeng was very happy. There were fewer competitors now. If it could rain until night time, his income today would be equivalent to 2 days of good weather. Just as he was feeling happy, 2 bailiffs from the yamen came. They knew each other. One of the bailiffs sat at a table and said to Wang Sunfeng, "Brother Wang, isn't it time to pay the tax? It's been 10 days. "Oh, Brother Fu, you're wrong. I've already signed a contract with the Millennium Chamber of Commerce. Even if I take money out today, it will be sent to them. They're tax-free for 10 years. Look, when we signed the contract, we copied down the relevant places. The people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce even put their fingerprints on it. Can't be faked." Wang Sunfeng didn't want to pay at all. He could save half of the money. It wasn't a small amount. "So you're refusing to pay your taxes? Then don't blame me for not being able to do it. Arrest him. As the runner spoke, the chain went for Wang Xuanfeng's neck. Wang Sunfeng could have dodged, but he didn't. If he dodged, he would be resisting arrest. What right do you have to arrest me? I didn't do anything wrong. I want to talk to the county magistrate. Wang Sunfeng was brought to the yamen by the runners. At this time, there were many people in the yamen who had been arrested. They didn't dare to move because they knew Li Yu's identity. They just wanted an explanation. When most of the people had arrived, Li Yu came to the front with a contract in his hand. He said to the crowd, "Is there anyone who doesn't agree? Fine, I'll tell you. Look carefully. When Party A cooperates with Party B, they are tax-free. When they signed the contract with you, they didn't cooperate with me in this regard. You'll pay what you have to pay. No one can escape. Pay your taxes and pay your fines. Then you can go home. Sir, you can say whatever you want. Why do you have the final say?" A merchant rolled his eyes and said. Chapter 747. After explaining the contract to the merchants working with the Chenshire Chamber of Commerce, Li Yu really forced them to pay up and increase the fine by 3 times. The merchants did not dare to resist. They were scared out of their wits. They were not afraid of Li Yu, but of Zhang Xiaobao. The rumors were true, and Zhang Xiaobao lived up to his reputation. A few days ago, they had been saying that the undefeated Zhang Xiaobao had lost. Now they knew what it meant to have no empty seats. "Lord Li, no Marquis, you are familiar with the young master of the Zhang family. I accept the punishment. Not just 3 times, even 5 times is fine. I spoke ill of him a few days ago, so please speak up for me. Don't let him send people to open a pancake shop." Wang Sunfeng, who owned a Shunfeng pastry restaurant at home, walked up to Li Yu from behind the crowd of businessmen. His face was full of regret as he pleaded with Li Yu. He was even willing to pay more, just to prevent Zhang Xiaobao from taking revenge. Li Yu was amused. Wang Sunfeng was not afraid of a marquis, but he was afraid of Zhang Xiaobao coming to take care of the shop. He waved his hand impatiently. "I said 3 times, then 3 times. If you do it again 5 times and you will be locked up." Then the young master of the Zhang family, Wang Sunfeng, asked without a trace of joy. "He doesn't have the time to care about you. He is someone who does great things. You are not even a chicken that is going to kill a chicken to scare the monkey." Yes, I am just an ant. He doesn't have time to kill me." That's good, that's good." Wang Sunfeng was relieved. Many of the other merchants thought the same. They were afraid that Zhang Xiaobao would come personally. If he wanted to deal with them, he would not have to resort to underhanded means. He could just throw money at them. Chairman Tian of the Chenshire Chamber of Commerce and the others were not sure when the county would catch the merchants. A notice was posted outside the yamen. It contained a portion of the contract, as well as the amount of taxes and fines that the merchants had to pay. All of it would be recorded, especially the fines, which were not taxes that had to be paid. They could be kept and used for the development of Chongning County. The continuous decrease in revenue for the past few days had already made the people worried. Now that they suddenly saw the contents of the contract and the revenue, the people who were worried about their hometown quickly smiled and spread the news. When President Tian and the others heard the news, they took out the contract and read it carefully. It was written very clearly in the contract. Only those who cooperated with Li Yu could enjoy the tax exemption. Especially the last sentence, which made the 6 of them learn a new trick. But the price was not small, because they had to compensate the merchants who cooperated with them. One move behind, one move behind. Zhang Xiaobao, I will remember this. President Tian sighed and looked at the hazy sky outside. The other 5 people were also worried. They had witnessed the legendary prowess of Zhang Xiaobao, but they had yet to discover the backup plan of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Were they setting up a trap, or were they not planning to take revenge? Just like the sky, it was gloomy and gloomy. It was hard to bear. Li Yu, who had received a large sum of money from the yamen, was very happy to treat the punished merchants to a meal. The food was not bad. The whole mutton soup was still being cleaned up. The mutton was brought up first, and there was a large pot next to it. There were mutton bones and mutton fat inside, and it was boiling. Chopped green onions, coriander, salted garlic, and pepper were all prepared. When the soup was ready, they could drink it. Li Yu picked up a piece of mutton face and said to the merchants in the yard, "Everyone has made a lot of contributions to this county. I will thank you on behalf of the county people." The merchants were not in the mood to eat, but they did not dare to not eat. They picked up their chopsticks and casually put some meat into their mouths and ate with Li Yu. After eating for a while, the mutton soup was ready. Li Yu asked someone to serve him a bowl full of soup. He took 2 sips and felt comfortable all over. Then he said to the merchants, "In this prosperous dynasty, the goods are prosperous and the people are peaceful. We should join forces. However, although there are only a few fools, the time is not right for everyone. Perhaps the path is unclear. Therefore we want to gather, move together, fight together, so." "Lord Li, can you say something else?" More than half of the merchants did not understand what Li Yu was talking about. Someone asked in a low voice. "Oh, actually what I'm saying is that everyone is living a good life now. The people of Tang are in a good time. In our county, everyone should be motivated to work together. However, although there are few fools, there are many who are not. They can't find a better way. So, I think we should join forces and advance and retreat together." Just like Lu Zhou, all the people there worked together with the merchants. The merchants had formed their own merchant associations. When they had good things to sell, they would not go to others alone to negotiate the price. Otherwise, they would be sowed and attacked one by one. It was the same when it came to buying things. The common folk in the county can't compare to Lu Zhou, but shouldn't you merchants work together with me? When you trade, you can talk to other merchants together. That way, you'll suffer less losses and gain more benefits. Li Yu did not want to show off how talented he was. When he saw that many people did not understand, he immediately changed his way of speaking. He looked at the merchants, asking them if they wanted to join him. The merchants now knew that Li Yu, the marquis, was going to learn from the Zhang family and the Wang family. They hesitated. The Zhang family and the Wang family could succeed because they had powerful people. Could they do the same? Li Yu seemed to have guessed the thoughts of the merchants. He continued, "Let's try it out first. If we find it difficult, I'll ask Zhang Xiaobao. What do you think?" "We'll listen to your orders, my lord." Wang Sunfeng expressed his stance. Li Yu's last sentence had worked. The other merchants also agreed. As long as Li Yu could talk to Zhang Xiaobao, there would be no problem. "Let's paddle the 2 oars and push the waves away." On the Yellow River, or more accurately, on the Wei River, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet slowly moved forward. Little Bei, Little Yuan, Big Man, Little Man, and a group of little fellows sat on the south side of the ship. Their voices drifted in and out as they sang. The human-powered propeller continued to spin in the countercurrent. There was no need for a tracker. Moreover, there were 2 large wheels beside the propeller. At full speed it was very fast. Because the ship had many levels and was too high, the little fellows couldn't see the ship below them. They could only look at the south side. The south side was relatively more prosperous. There were fishing boats and passenger boats waiting to be ferried. In the shallow waters of the river, there were naked children swimming. Little Bei and the others sang until they stopped. They stared blankly at the shore. The ship rocked gently in the water, but it didn't make them seasick. The guards didn't disturb them either. They only set up a net below the ship to prevent anyone from falling in. Although Little Bei and the others could swim, it depended on what kind of water they were in. While they were looking at the people on the shore were also looking at them. Because the ship was moving along the north side of the river, it was far away and there were no binoculars. They could only see a group of children sitting on the side of the ship. Only the merchants who often came and did business knew who the people on this ship were. The 2 rice seedlings holding hands clearly told the people who were familiar with them that this was the young master and young lady of the Zhang and Wang families who were on the move. Could it be that someone has offended the great Tang and is about to go to war? After seeing the flags, one of the servants of a merchant from Jianan Circuit nervously asked the person next to him. The person next to him also couldn't guess. He said, "Who else would they fight? Could it be that there's a powerful enemy? Otherwise, why would Xiao Bao and Cuckoo move out at the same time? That can't be. The Turks have been well behaved for a long time. Why would the two of them be sent out? What are you two talking about? Didn't you see that little Bei and the others are on the ship? You want to take them out to war. I think they're just sightseeing. It would be great if they could go sightseeing in Jianan Circuit. Maybe I can sell some things to them." The master of the two servants also stopped to watch. When he heard the words of the two servants, he followed suit. The people on the ship didn't know what the others were talking about. They were still busy with their own business. Zhang Xiaobao was cooking, and Wang Wan was helping him. Little Bei had eaten too many bones in the past few days, so he suggested that he wanted to eat vegetables. Therefore Zhang Xiaobao decided to cook vegetables today. He also cooked an eggplant and cucumber scrambled eggs. Wang Wan was in charge of the main dish. She used dandelion seeds to make pies and put some dried shrimps and oil in them. The pies were wrapped in thin layers. She only put a little oil in the first pan, and the rest were all dried. The pies were only 5 centimeters in diameter, making them very convenient to eat. After placing the pies on the pans, Wang Wan looked at the fire and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Are we really responsible for all the expenses?" Zhang Xiaobao, who was peeling the cucumber, slowed down his movements and said, "Of course. If I don't take advantage of this opportunity to make money, I won't be able to sleep at night." After peeling the cucumber, Zhang Xiaobao only chose the most tender part in the middle and cut it for later use. He also took the eggplant. He didn't want the skin or the innermost part. He only chose the middle part without oil and blanched it with water. After Wang Wan saw it, she said, "You spoiled it. If you eat bean sprouts, do you have to cut off the head and the tail? Have you thought of a story? We didn't throw it away. The rest is just enough to make a mess of stew. The cucumber will be mixed with cold dishes. I've thought of a story. Once upon a time there was a family," Zhang Xiaobao said as he cooked. Stories were prepared for meals. Children were partial to food and had eaten too much meat recently. Xiaoyuan didn't like to eat vegetables. In order to let the younger siblings take the initiative to eat, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had to think of a story every time they cooked. It revolved around the dishes they cooked. The central idea of the story was how delicious the dish was, how difficult it was for others to eat it, and what would happen after eating it. They didn't directly tell the children what was the use of eating it, such as how it didn't have any effect on nutrition. In this way, when the children ate, they would think about the plot of the story. If the food was not too bad, the children would take the initiative to eat it. Most of the time when a person liked to eat a dish, it wasn't that the dish was delicious, but it was a habit in the mind. Wang Wan flipped the pancake, took the dough, and continued to wrap it. She said, "Do you think Li Longji will agree with your idea? I think that's what he wants us to do. I'll arrange for someone to go over and arrange it in advance," Zhang Xiaobao replied. Chapter 748. The waves slapped against the side of the ship, and the clouds in the day moved with the wind. Under the setting sun, the willows were dyed red. On this evening, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet finally entered the canal. Based on their current speed, they would reach the capital in another 2 days. The splint on Xiao Bei's arm had been removed the day before yesterday. Xiao Bei, who had not washed his arm for a month, would soak it in water when he was free. It was only today that he realized something was wrong. Most of his body was darker than his arm, and his arm was too white. It looked awkward no matter how one looked at it. After asking around, his brother and sister ran to the ship in front to make arrangements. Xiao Bei could only use a thin shirt to cover his arm and ask others for help. Xiao Yuan was showing off his cleverness to others, reciting, Separate from the turbid, separate from the turbid. Xiao Bei came looking for him. Brother Xiao Yuan, I have something to ask you. Xiao Bei usually called him Xiao Yuan, but today he added the word, brother. Xiao Yuan was shocked and looked at Xiao Bei warily. He then looked around. Luckily there were people around. He asked, "What's the matter? I won't use the tripwire anymore." "Look at how scared you are," Xiao Bei said when he saw Xiao Yuan's timid look. "Of course not. We're on water. I'm afraid you'll set fire to it." Xiao Yuan did not relax. "Let me test you. Do you know why people can become darker?" Xiao Bei's eyes turned, and he put his hands behind his back, looking knowledgeable. Xiao Yuan nodded and said, "I know. Places where the sun doesn't reach are white. Look, people who often stay indoors are usually white. People who work outside are usually black. Let me give you a pair of binoculars. Look, the person on the boat behind is still sitting in the shade and writing while the sun is setting. He is white. Look again, that person who is struggling in the water is black. It's obvious that he fell into the water by accident. Look at his face, it's black, right? Look at the overturned boat beside him. See it? Save him, quickly save him. Someone fell into the water. Team 0, where's Team 0? Go down." As Xiao Bei listened to Xiao Yuan, he used his binoculars to look back and forth. Suddenly, he realized that the person struggling in the water wasn't swimming. Instead, the boat had capsized. He scanned the surroundings and realized that there was a person dragging two people and swimming towards the shore. Xiao Bei was no longer in the mood to turn white or black. She shouted at the people around her. When she shouted, someone on the boat in front of her had already jumped into the water. As the waves churned, they quickly approached the person who had fallen into the water. Seeing that the strong number 0 seedling protection team had met someone, the nervous little ones heaved a sigh of relief and sat on the deck as if they had collapsed. "You scared me to death. Xiaoyuan, you just said that it's fine to just bask in the sun, right? If the white parts are tanned, wouldn't the black parts be even darker?" Seeing that it was really the members of Team 0, Xiao Bei was no longer worried. Thinking of his own matters, he asked Xiao Yuan, "Of course. The more you get under the sun, the darker you get. In the end, you'll be as black as coal. Why do you ask?" Xiao Yuan replied, "No, nothing. I'm just asking. My clothes aren't comfortable. Change." Xiao Bei left in a hurry after saying that. She entered the cabin and sat there thinking for a while. Then she opened the door and said to the guard outside, "Get someone to make me a set of clothes. The kind that doesn't have a sleeve on the right arm." The guard nodded and went to find someone to report. Xiao Bei and the others didn't have a lot of clothes. They grew quickly, so they usually had 3 sets of clothes made every season. As they grew, they would have them made at the same time. Unless the clothes were torn, they would make a set at the last minute to avoid wasting it. This set of clothes that Xiao Bei had suggested needed to be reported. In particular, Xiao Bei's request had to be made known to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The news was quickly passed to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan through flag signals. The two of them were waiting for the people from the Miao protection team to rescue them. Fortunately, they had flipped over in the canal. If it had been in the middle of the Yellow River, where the current was the most rapid and there were whirlpools, it would have been difficult to rescue them. After receiving the news, Wang Wan couldn't understand why Xiao Bei wanted a set of clothes that didn't have a right sleeve. However, Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said to Wang Wan, "Xiao Bei must have felt that the color of the right arm is different from other parts of the body. I had this thought before, but I didn't get someone to make clothes at that time. Instead, I rolled up my trouser leg. At that time I thought it was very smart, but now I know it's very stupid." Wang Wan thought about it and felt that it was more or less the case. She smiled and said, "Xiao Bei must be very anxious. Think of a way. Then we won't have to make clothes. Bei, after lunch tomorrow, get someone to get some mud and stick it on them. Let them bask in the sun for a day. The color will change to about the same." Zhang Xiaobao came up with an idea. Usually, Xiao Bei and the others would also bask in the sun. Compared to the children who often stayed indoors, they were slightly darker but healthier. In fact, the little guys had patches of black and white on their bodies. It was just that Xiao Bei's arms, which were originally black, were too white. At this time, the people who had fallen into the water had been brought back. They were a boatman and 3 passengers. They took advantage of the fact that the water transport wasn't too busy to ferry over. They didn't expect that when they were about to reach the shore, they would accidentally overturn. The boatman could only barely save 2 people, and the remaining one almost died. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't go to meet the rescued people. The 2 of them looked at the water below and thought about something. After a while, Zhang Xiaobao said, "If we provide the local people who ferry back and forth with a bigger boat, can we avoid the danger of the boat capsizing? They can't afford a big boat even if they work for a lifetime." Wang Wan rejected Zhang Xiaobao's suggestion. "Then why don't we lend it to them first and pay them back bit by bit?" Zhang Xiaobao said again. "Then we'll lose money. Until the big boat breaks down, we won't be able to earn back the capital." Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao in surprise. She meant to say, "Why are you so stupid today?" Zhang Xiaobao nodded. "That's right. That's why we have to continue with the ferry. But we can't sit on the boat for nothing. Costs at least 1 copper coin per trip. If it costs 1 copper coin per trip, don't you think there will be more people willing to take this route? Then we can only maintain the same income if the number of passengers can double what it is today. What are you thinking of doing?" "I was just thinking if we should fork out some money to build a bridge here. We don't expect to make money, but we can leave a good reputation." Wang Wan was confused by Zhang Xiaobao's words. She felt that Zhang Xiaobao's thinking had suddenly become sluggish. Zhang Xiaobao continued, "What I mean is that we can build the bridge, but we can't let people cross for free. If it's a single trip, we'll charge 1 copper coin per trip. If it's a frequent trip, we can apply for a monthly or annual pass. Not only can people cross but goods can as well. But if the goods weigh more than 300 catties, we'll have to pay 1 copper coin more. You want to charge a bridge protection fee? That's a challenge. Have you ever heard of anyone paying to cross the bridge?" Wang Wan reminded. "Don't use our name. Just find someone. The bridge is easy to build. There's no need to use piers. Just connect the 2 sides. Use iron chains and board. Both sides don't have to be iron oxen or copper oxen. Pour some cement and put in some pebbles. It's heavy and sturdy. First, arrange a few people to guard both sides of the bridge. If there's a situation where people don't pay and run away, it's enough to guard one side. If there are children who need to run between the 2 sides to go to school in the future, this can be free, but the children can't carry too many things. This price is cheaper than the ferry, right? Moreover, it's safer. When the time comes, people can choose to walk or take the ferry. Little by little, the people will accept the fact that crossing the bridge costs money. When the time comes, the road will be the same. Actually, we can't make much money by building roads now. If we were to build roads in prosperous areas, we would be able to earn money by opening shops by the roadside. If there weren't many people, we would just be spending money. Once the commoners were used to spending money to cross the bridge, we would build more roads. We would build new roads beside the old roads. Every time we walked, we would have to spend money. Those who didn't want to spend money could walk on the old roads. Naturally, the speed would not be as fast as the new roads. Furthermore, those who walked on the new roads would be able to rest for free in the small houses built by the roadside. When the time comes, you'll have to make up for it. The most important thing in the service area is to provide hot water. As long as the people in the caravan come, they'll be provided with a pot of hot water. If they're pedestrians, they can't ask for money. Zhang Xiaobao explained his idea while Wang Wan listened at the side. When Zhang Xiaobao finished, Wang Wan asked, "What if someone crosses the old road to the new road and returns to the old road when they're almost there? What will you do?" "Let the people in the service area watch. Usually there will be a service area set up every half a day. The hot water and rest are free, but you must have a pass to come here. However, other things are not free, such as medicine, dry food, tools needed to repair vehicles, etc. are not free. Occasionally, we'll send people to patrol on horseback. If they catch them, they'll have to pay double the money. If they don't pay, we'll take away their goods and not give them money. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had too much money in the future and couldn't spend it all at once. He planned to use it on road repair and collect tolls. It was likely that because there were few people coming and going, there wouldn't be much money left after deducting the maintenance fees. However, it was better than having no money at all. Otherwise, he would have to build more roads in the future. It would be better if he could get some money back. Wang Wan lowered her head and thought for a moment, then asked, "Do you think it'll work?" "How do I know? Let's try it first. If it doesn't work, we'll talk about it later." "What if it works?" "Let's build the bridge first. We'll start with the bridge and arrange for people to do it immediately." Zhang Xiaobao made up his mind and asked his people to come in and arrange it. Wang Wan said, "Why don't you try the bridge on the Chongjiang River first?" "That won't work. That's not our home. Besides, there are too many people coming and going there. What if someone is dissatisfied and makes trouble?" It's a deep-rooted idea to not spend money on the bridge. Even businessmen think so. They don't care how much it costs to build bridges and roads. Let's start with a place with fewer people first. Chapter 749. Zhang Xiaobao really did arrange for people to do it. Building this kind of bridge was very fast. First, people would use boats to pull the hemp rope across. When the time came, both sides would be stretched, and the hemp rope would be gradually thicker. When a certain thickness was reached, one end would be replaced with an iron chain. When the time came, both sides would be fixed, and wooden planks would be laid. It would probably take less than half a month. As long as one was willing to spend money, there was no need to worry about not being able to make the iron chain. At that time, the price would be half of the ferry price. If the ferry lowered the price for transporting goods, the bridge would also lower the price. It was necessary to let the people know that it was safer, faster, and cheaper to cross the river than to cross the bridge. Of course, at this time, Zhang Xiaobao did not forget the impact of the bridge on the ferry industry. He was prepared to wait for the people to get used to the bridge before letting the ferrymen stop what they were doing and come over to help guard the bridge. Some people were willing to change careers to fishing. After arranging everything, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to the boat behind Xiaobei and the others were on. Previously, they had been discussing the details of the emperor's travel expenses with Old Man Pai and the others. As soon as they returned to the boat, Xiaobei came over angrily. "What's wrong, Xiaobei? Did someone bully our Xiaobei? Why are you unhappy?" Zhang Xiaobao crouched down and opened his arms. Xiaobei was still angry, but he did not refuse his brother's embrace. He leaned on his brother's arm and said, "It's you. I asked someone to make the clothes, but you didn't let me." "Really? There was such a thing?" Xiaobei, when you mentioned the clothes, I just remembered that my back is wider than my front. What should I do? I was worried, but in the end your sister was the best. Guess what she thought of?" Zhang Xiaobao indeed did not agree. At this time he pretended not to know. He changed the topic and began to talk about his own matters. As expected, Xiaobei's goal was not the clothes. Hearing his brother's words, he blinked his big eyes and asked, "Really? Really? If you don't believe me, Xiaobei, look. Is my back wider than my front?" As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he put the clothes in his pocket for Xiaobei to see. There were faint ink marks on his chest and dirt. Xiaobei looked around and nodded. "It's true. What idea did you come up with?" "I won't tell you for now. Let everyone guess. There will be a prize for guessing right. Go get little Yuan and the rest here," Zhang Xiaobao said to Xiaobei. When Xiaobei happily ran over to call for help, Zhang Xiaobao slapped his body with all his might. The mud sticking to his body was too uncomfortable. Wang Wan finally couldn't help but laugh. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "I really don't know what you're thinking. You could have just told Xiaobei what happened tomorrow. Why did you have to torment yourself like this?" That won't do. To you and me, this is a small matter that can't be any smaller. But to children this is a huge matter. Many children, when they grow up, their earliest memories stop at the age of 5 or 6. Do you know why? One reason is because there are problems with brain development when they are young. The other reason is that before the age of 5 or 6, they always live the same life. What they do every day doesn't change much. Adults who don't understand this logic want their children to be more stable and obedient in order to save trouble. Any obedient child is a good child. Many people think this way, but it's actually very selfish. Children are independent from the moment they appear in this world. They belong to themselves. Raising them isn't the same as restricting them. I can't control others, but I can control Xiaobei and the rest. I'll let them have a lively and colorful childhood. Children are the continuation of adults' hopes, but they are definitely not the inheritance of adults' personalities. Adults who want their children to realize their unrealized ideas are unqualified adults. Zhang Xiaobao said seriously to Wang Wan. This was what he thought, and it was exactly what he did. Wang Wan and Wei Wei smiled. Then let's hold a discussion for them. How can we make a white place turn black or make a black place turn white? You're right. Children also have their own dreams. We just need to provide them with the environment to create their dreams as much as possible. They're not another Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The innocent Xiao Bei didn't know how much effort his brother and sister had put in for them. He was happy to find Xiao Yuan, Xiao Zhu, and Xiao Hai. He didn't forget to pull De Nan, Xiao Nan, and the other 3 people. The group of little guys ran over to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The discussion of black becoming white, and white becoming black began just like that. 2 days later, when the color of Xiao Bei's right arm was about the same as the color of his left arm, the group finally entered the capital. Old Man Pai and the other 2 people went to the Joy House to rest, while Zhang Xiaobao led the group of little guys into the imperial palace. The guards sent them to the door and stopped. The group of little guys put on cute and beautiful clothes and followed closely behind Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They walked all the way to Xingqing Palace curiously. Li Longji, who had been waiting for a long time, asked people to prepare a lot of snacks and juice. He changed into casual clothes and glanced at the entrance of the palace from time to time. Xiao Bei and the others. The boy wore a black tuxedo with a white flowery shirt and a bow tie. The girl wore a princess dress with a beautiful bow tie in front of her chest. There was no need for people to announce their arrival. They directly entered the palace. As soon as they saw each other, they began to greet according to the etiquette taught by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Naturally, there was no cupping of one's fist or kneeling. The boy put one hand on his chest and bowed. The girl just squatted and bowed. They said together, "We greet Imperial Uncle." Li Longji had never seen such a fun thing before. Looking at the serious looks on the faces of these little fellows, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He stood up and walked forward while saying, "Rise, rise. Come, let Uncle take a good look." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan hadn't bowed yet. When they saw Li Longji coming over, they treated it as if they had already bowed. Wang Wan stood beside her younger brother and sister to accompany them. Zhang Xiaobao ran to Gao Lisher's side and took out a bag of small abalones that he had made. He said, "Adoptive father, we came in a hurry and didn't prepare any other gifts. Eat some abalones." Gao Lisher didn't care about what Zhang Xiaobao wanted to give him. He didn't lack money. As long as he saw his adopted son, he would be happy. He took the small abalones and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "My son, Xiao Bei and the others' clothes? I made them for fun. Don't they look good on you?" Zhang Xiaobao replied, "They look good just like the dolls you sell." Exane Air and the others didn't come. Gao Lisher looked at Xiao Bei and the others and also liked them. Children were always so fun, especially children who pretended to be adults. It was even more interesting. Exine Air and the others originally followed the emperor to the capital, but they didn't want to enter the palace and went to work in their shop. They have a doll shop here. When the emperor goes to Jinyang, they will follow him. Zhang Xiaobao replied. At this time, Li Longji didn't care about Zhang Xiaobao and Gao Lishir. He hugged and kissed them one by one. He found that they were even more fun than his own children. When his children saw him, they were usually very scared. Some even felt that he was a stranger. This group of little guys was different. Each and every one of them was obedient and not afraid of strangers. They always had a smile on their faces. It was very pleasing to see. After kissing each of them once, Li Longji stood up and took Xiao Bei's hand. He asked, Xiao Bei, I heard that you dared to wear official robes without my permission. Do you know your crime? If Li Longji asked other children, they might not know what to say. However, he chose Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei was the most sociable. After hearing Li Longji's words, Xiao Bei wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he showed a nervous expression. He blinked his big eyes and said, Can I only wear it with Uncle Emperor's permission? Of course. Li Longji replied with a straight face. Xiao Bei and Uncle Emperor should discuss it and allow Xiao Bei and the others to wear it. Xiao Bei was injured last month and it hurts a lot. Uncle Emperor, what do you think? As Xiao Bei spoke, he felt so wrong that he was about to cry. His eyes were red. Li Longji just wanted to joke. When he saw that Xiao Bei was about to cry, he immediately nodded and agreed. Okay, Xiao Bei, if you want to wear it, then wear it. Have agreed. I will let you wear it. Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty. This time there was no need for anyone to tell them. The children, who always listened to stories from their older brothers and sisters, used the words that often appeared in other dynasties and bowed to Li Longji. Li Longji was stunned at first. After pondering for a while, he felt that these 4 words were quite good. They sounded very comfortable and should be thanking him for his kindness. He hurriedly said, You may dispense with the formalities. Xiao Bei, tell Uncle Emperor, how did you get injured? Does it still hurt? It doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't hurt anymore after Big Brother blows on it. It's more or less healed. It's just that I can't bruise it anymore and can't use too much force. I have to continue recuperating for another month. Uncle Emperor, are we still going to prepare the goldfish pouch and official robes ourselves? Xiao Bei obediently shook his head and waved his arms to show that he was almost healed. He then asked one last question. Li Longji was stunned. What goldfish pouch? Becoming an official. Uncle Emperor personally agreed to confer us an official. We have already thanked you. Xiao Bei said with a look that said, Are you going to go back on your word? Confer an official. Confer what official? Li Longji was even more confused. Disbanded officials. Lower 3rd rank and 4th rank disbanded officials. Just like Big Brother and Big Sister. Last time, Xiao Bei was wearing a 3rd rank official robe because Big Sister was wearing it. Big Brother was wearing a 4th rank official robe, so Big Brother Xiao Yuan and the others were also wearing 4th rank official robes. Uncle Emperor, you just said that you will allow us to wear this robe, so naturally we have to have an official. Uncle Emperor, you can rest assured. Xiao Bei doesn't care if you want an official robe and goldfish pouch. Xiao Bei can prepare them myself. Really, Big Brother Xiao Yuan and the others are the same. Isn't that right, Xiao Yuan? Xiao Bei tried his best to fight for his own benefits. He finally caught Li Longji saying the wrong thing. A monarch's words were not to be taken lightly. The opportunity was right in front of him. Xiao Yuan and the others weren't stupid and immediately thanked him again. However, Li Longji was dumbfounded. He was just teasing his children. How could he give away a bunch of 3rd rank and 4th rank officials? If he really gave them away, that would be terrible. Chapter 750. Just when Li Longji didn't know what to say, Xiao Bao said, Xiao Bei, why are you so insensible? Uncle Emperor is just joking with you. You didn't do anything. If he really gave you a 3rd or 4th rank official, how would the officials in the world be convinced? I'm not like a 6th or 7th rank official. It's fine no matter how many ranks you get. Is it so easy to get a 3rd or 4th rank official? Your sister and I used our lives to get those positions. Why aren't you apologizing? Xiao Bei looked at his brother in confusion. Suddenly, he saw his brother winking at him. He remembered what his brother said and immediately said, "Uncle Emperor, Xiao Bei didn't put his life on the line. I don't want a 6th or 7th rank official position. I'll ask for one after I try. From today onwards, I won't wear an official uniform anymore, even if it looks good." Li Longji really couldn't give Xiao Bei and the others such a high-rank official. Just as he was thinking of a way to change the topic, Zhang Xiaobao's words settled the matter. It didn't seem to be a good idea whether he was given a rank or not. When he wanted to turn around and give Gao Lisher a look, Xiao Yuan in the crowd also cooperated and said to Gao Lisher, "Brother Xiao Hai, actually, I think it's okay to have a 7th rank official. At most, when no one is looking, you can still wear purple clothes. When you meet an official, you can change into a 7th rank uniform." When the little guys heard Xiao Yuan's words, they all looked at Li Longji with yearning. Xiao Bei also said as if he was talking to himself, "Can a 7th rank official be given? Your Majesty, on the way here, I discussed with County Deputy Wang. We're going to use some money to build a few bridges between the Yellow River and the Caozu Canal. We hope Your Majesty will agree." At this time, Zhang Xiaobao spoke again. When Li Longji heard Zhang Xiaobao's words and looked at County Deputy Wang standing there with a smile, he finally knew what to do. "I didn't expect Minister Zhang to have such a plan. Okay, I agree. I hope Minister Zhang and Minister Wang can build the bridges firmly. Xiao Bei, if a 3rd or 4th rank official is really not enough, I have a 7th rank official. How about I give you the title of Zhigua Commandant? He is a 7th grade Wu San official." Li Longji originally didn't want to give Xiao Bei and the others any official positions, but when Zhang Xiaobao said that he wanted to build a few more bridges, it played a key role. After weighing the money needed to build the bridges and then considering the salary of a 7th rank official, he had no choice but to agree to it. "Thank you, Uncle Emperor. Xiao Bei knows that Uncle Emperor doesn't have much money. Xiao Bei doesn't care about what Uncle Emperor wants. I'll go back and do it myself. Uncle Emperor, we're both 7th ranked. How can Xiao Bei care about others?" This time, Xiao Bei didn't follow her brother's instructions. She said whatever came to her mind. Course. Not to mention a rank 7 official, even a rank 1 official, as long as he makes a mistake, Xiao Bei, you just have to take care of him. Uncle will help you, so there's no need to be afraid. Li Longji said in his heart, "If you encounter an official who bullies you, you don't need to be an official. Your brother and sister will take care of them. Who dares to bully you? I almost lost a rank 3 or rank 4 official as soon as I met him." Xiao Bei nodded happily. Suddenly, she put on a straight face and said, "I impeach the county magistrate of Yongla County. I don't know what his name is, but he asked the refugees to come over and help with farming. He said that he would give the refugees farmland, but after the spring plowing, he began to drive them away. When I passed by Yongla County on the boat, I gave some of the refugees food. I impeach him." When Xiao Bei said this, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were stunned. The two of them really didn't know about this matter. During those few days, the two of them had been discussing the details of the emperor's travels with Old Man Pai and the others. They only heard the servants report that Xiao Bei gave people food when they were resting at the docks. This was very normal. There were many poor people, and Xiao Bei liked to give people things. He didn't give a lot, but it was very useful. They didn't expect that when the boat stopped at Yongla County when they were about to enter the canal, there would be such a thing. If they had known about this situation, they would have dealt with it themselves. Xiao Hai and the others also nodded to prove it. "Xiao Bei, oh Lieutenant Jigua, is what you said true?" Li Longji asked Xiao Bei, but his eyes were looking at Wang Wan. Wang Wan quickly thought about it and felt that Xiao Bei and the others couldn't be lying, so she nodded and said, "I think it's about right. Send someone to check." Li Longji narrowed his eyes. If it was someone else impeaching, he could consider why the county magistrate did this and who was behind it. But today it was Xiao Bei, a 3-year-old child, who was impeaching. For a group of children to remember something so clearly, no matter if the county magistrate didn't do a good job or didn't hide it well, he couldn't be let off lightly. Li Shi, who do you think should investigate this? Li Longji wasn't going to let this county magistrate go. Yongle County was too close to the capital. Today, the cute little fellows had joined hands to impeach the county magistrate as soon as he became an official. How big of a matter was it to make these sensible and well-behaved little fellows hate it so much? Hearing this, Gao Lishir thought for a moment and replied, I think it's better for the Crown Prince to personally handle this matter. With this, Li Longji understood which side the county magistrate of Yongle County stood on. This was because all imperial governors could be called governors, but they didn't have a rank. Starting from rank 3 to rank 9, all imperial governors could be called governors. What Li Longji meant was that he had given the Zhang family and Wang family the power to impeach others without a rank. When an imperial governor impeached someone, it didn't matter even if the impeachment was wrong. Other than sending people to investigate, the person who was impeached would have to provide evidence himself. If it was only an imperial governor, then the impeachment would be carried out in the imperial court. If it was a local imperial governor, then the impeachment would be carried out at different levels. Now that they had this imperial governor, then the Zhang family and Wang family could carry out the impeachment to the provincial government first. If the provincial government didn't do anything or didn't investigate, then they could immediately carry out a cross-level impeachment to the capital. They could also impeach the local imperial governor. If they used this well, they could directly find out the person behind the local imperial governor, and it would be a legitimate one. Xiao Bei didn't understand what this meant. He only knew that in the future he could take care of things that he didn't like. If the other party's official position was high, then he could get Xiao Yuan and the others to work together. Even if it was the title of imperial governor, they could impeach the high-ranking official. Uncle Emperor, Xiao Bei will definitely take good care of others. As long as I see someone bullying the common people, I will deal with him. If he dares to fight back, I will let Big Brother and Big Sister beat him up. Xiao Bei took the initiative to kiss Li Longji, making a promise to Li Longji. That's right. If anyone dares to bully Xiao Bei, we will let Xiao Bei's Big Brother and Big Sister beat him up. Haha. Li Longji picked Xiao Bei up and spun him around, then laughed loudly and put him down. Li Longji was really too happy today. It wasn't because of the official, but because of Xiao Bei's words that would let the common people of Tang live a good life. Since the Zhang family and Wang family could teach Xiao Bei like this, it was reassuring. The most frightening thing was that the Zhang family and Wang family betrayed him. If other people betrayed him, he could send troops to suppress them, and there wouldn't be many losses. However, if the Zhang family and Wang family betrayed him, then the consequences would be unimaginable. The surrounding palace maids and eunuchs also heard this conversation. Some were impressed, some felt that Xiao Bei and the others were cute, and some felt that Zhang family and Wang family were good. However, all of them had the same thought, and that was that in the future, unless the emperor personally gave the order, no one would dare to provoke the Zhang family and Wang family. Chapter 751. Li Longji happily ate a meal with Zhang Xiaobao and his younger siblings. The meal was not bad. The little ones were not like the others who were reserved and did not dare to eat. They ate enthusiastically, causing Li Longji to eat a lot as well. At night, Zhang Xiaobao and the others naturally had to go back. Xiao Bei and the others all received a set of 7th-ranked robes and an additional goldfish bag. This was given to them because Xiao Bei said that it looked good. Li Longji was finally generous for once. It was not easy. During the meal, Zhang Xiaobao kept talking about where to build the bridge. Compared to the price of the bridge, this temporary set of official robes was much cheaper. The guards guarding the door had not been changed yet. When they saw that the group of people who went in was a group of officials when they came back, they were all dumbfounded. The 7th-ranked official robes were worn by a group of children. If they were not in the palace, they would definitely think that someone was wearing them blindly. How many people might not be able to reach the 7th-ranked in their entire lives? There were many 8th-ranked and 9th-ranked officials. Some of them even passed the imperial examinations and were still 8th-ranked officials in their old age. Were the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family so powerful that they could become officials just by coming in and coming out? Of course, these guards did not know that as soon as Xiao Bei became an official, he had already impeached the Yongle County magistrate. He had already sent people over and was waiting for the county magistrate to provide evidence himself. This time there was really an official, not the kind who wore clothes to pretend. Xiao Bei was so happy that he did not want to take the carriage and insisted on walking to the savant's restaurant. The official robes were really beautiful on him. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and did not object. It was a good opportunity to let the people in the capital know how powerful the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family were. Now both families were officials, even Danan and the others. After walking for more than 2 hours, when they were about to reach the savant's restaurant, Xiao Bei and the others were still so excited that they did not feel tired at all. They ran up and down the street, causing the officials who occasionally passed by to give way. Even the 4th-ranked and 5th-ranked officials did not dare to compete with Xiao Bei and the others. That had nothing to do with the rank of the official. Even though Xiao Bei and the others were 7th-rank officials, their goldfish bags and age had already explained the problem. A 3-year-old 7th-rank official versus a 40-year-old 5th-rank official. Who was more powerful? When they arrived at Savant's restaurant, Old Man Pai and the other two were stunned when they saw Xiao Bei's official robes. "Grandpa Bai, have you eaten?" "Today, Big Brother said that he was going to cook a table full of dishes for us," Xiao Bei said as he skipped in front of Old Man Pai and opened his arms to let him hug him. Old Man Pai picked Xiao Bei up and carefully looked at his clothes and goldfish bag. He asked, "Xiao Bei, when did you change your clothes?" "I changed them after I saw Uncle Emperor. I am now a 7th-rank official, the kind that is scattered. Together with them, we are the Imperial Censor Governor. When we came back, Big Brother said that we can impeach from the bottom up. If the people below us make a mistake, as long as the people above us don't immediately take care of it, we can impeach the people above us all the way to the capital. Isn't that awesome?" Xiao Huai hugged Old Man Pai's neck and said with a smile. Old Man Pai was stunned for a moment. He looked at the clothes of the other little guys and nodded numbly. "Awesome, really awesome. Did His Majesty give you all scattered officials? A 7th-rank official? And he gave you the title of Imperial Censor Governor?" "Yes, Uncle Emperor is awesome. I personally impeached the Yongle County magistrate. I don't even know his surname yet, but Uncle Emperor asked Uncle Gao to find that crown prince to investigate. That day, I gave out more than 1,000 steamed buns and many salted vegetables. That Yongle County magistrate deserved to die." Xiao Bei nodded in response. He even said the question that Old Man Pai didn't ask. Hearing Xiao Bei's words, Old Man Pai sighed and began to mourn for the Yongle County magistrate. He could have offended anyone, but why did he have to be targeted by the Zhang family and the Wang family? At this time, the waiter of Savant's restaurant also heard Xiao Bei's words and saw the official robes that Xiao Bei and the others were wearing. He changed his original calm and smiling appearance and shouted loudly, "Ah!" and ran into the restaurant. "Miss Xiao Bei and the others are officials now. Shopkeeper, Miss Xiao Bei and the others have come back from the palace wearing the 7th-rank official robes. Quickly get someone to prepare delicious food. Miss Xiao Bei likes to eat garlic and cucumbers." There were still many customers eating in the restaurant. When they heard the waiter shouting like this, they were first surprised because the waiter of Savant's restaurant had always been very steady. Then they were angry. Did a 7th-rank official have to be like this? In a place like the capital, was a 7th-rank official considered an official? However, when Xiao Bei and the others came in wearing official robes, the customers who were dissatisfied with the waiter who shouted and shouted just now all shut their mouths. The people eating could tell at a glance that they were 3 or 4 years old children. Then they thought about what the waiter said just now. They came from the palace. Mother Fastris Kerr. A 3 or 4-year-old child is a 7th-rank official. Mother Fastris Kerr, how can we live? Mother Fastris Cur, I'm not jealous, it's really Mother Fastris Cur. Immediately, a person eating noodles on the first floor softly shouted. The other customers were also stunned. A 7th-rank official was not rare in the capital, but a 3- or 4-year-old child becoming a 7th-rank official was no longer a problem in the capital. They knew that there was a high-ranking official, but they couldn't immediately become one at such a young age. Even if they were high-ranking officials, they couldn't be high-ranking officials at the same time. How many high-ranking officials could be high-ranking officials? Moreover, there were also the goldfish bags that the children were playing with in their hands. Since they came from the palace, it naturally couldn't be fake. After receiving the news, the shopkeeper of Savant's restaurant also hurried over. When he saw the 7th-rank official robes and goldfish bags on Xiao Bei and the others, he suddenly cried. With a plop, he knelt in front of Xiao Bei and sobbed, "The heavens have eyes. My Zhang family and Wang family don't have to worry anymore. Xiao Bei, what do you want to eat?" "Uncle Zhang, don't be like this. Quickly get up. I'll eat whatever Uncle Zhang makes." The happy Xiao Bei was shocked. He stretched out his arm and tried to help the kneeling shopkeeper up. The shopkeeper, who didn't want to get up, suddenly remembered that Xiao Bei's arm had just been injured some time ago. He was afraid that it would be damaged again, so he immediately stood up and wiped his tears. He asked Xiao Bei, "Xiao Bei, your official is?" The people around them who were eating also craned their necks to listen. "Uncle Emperor gave it to me. Originally, I wanted a 3rd-rank or 4th-rank official, but Big Brother said that the official position was too high. First, I asked for a lower rank, and now I have a 7th-rank official. A disbanded official who doesn't keep his word. If it was Big Brother and Big Sister who impeached him, there wouldn't even be a need to investigate." When Xiao Bei was supporting the shopkeeper, she was hugged by the shopkeeper who stood up. She pouted and explained to the shopkeeper regretfully. The shopkeeper used his other hand to pinch himself hard. After he woke up, he nodded and said to Xiao Bei, "That's right. Xiao Bei, you can't be arrogant. It's really unreasonable for someone to investigate a mere county magistrate. Who is going to investigate? Do we need Savant's restaurant to help us inform them?" The shopkeeper thought that the little young master and Xiao Bei were using Xiao Bei to impeach him, so when he asked Xiao Bei, he was asking Zhang Xiaobao if he should help. Savant's restaurant was not small now. When Zhang Xiaobao saw the shopkeeper looking over, he shook his head and said, "There's no need. Cuckoo and I don't know about this matter. His Majesty has already asked the Crown Prince to investigate. Xiao Bei's dish will be braised beef marrow today. Go and arrange it." "Yes." The shopkeeper put Xiao Bei down and turned to greet them. However, there was a storm in his heart. From the little young master's words just now, he knew that Xiao Bei's impeachment had directly bypassed the little young master and Xiao Bei. In the end, the emperor was angry and asked the crown prince to control his own people. Not all the people eating there did not understand anything. Some people even recognized Zhang Xiaobao. When they saw him and heard what he said, they immediately understood what was going on. He had brought his younger siblings to the imperial palace, and when they came back, they were all officials. The people eating on the first floor finally learned something. It was the first time they had heard of a 3 to 4-year-old 7th-ranked official. Of course, they did not know that Xiao Bei was actually not 3 years old. It was just that he was usually trained well and had enough nutrition, so he was a little older. Xiao Bei happily smiled sweetly at the people eating around him and prepared to go upstairs. Savant's restaurant was originally 3 floors, but now it was 4. The space on the 4th floor was a little smaller, only half the size of the 3 floors below. After all, it had not been rebuilt yet. It was all wood, so the space on the 4th floor could not be too big. When Xiao Bei returned home, he wanted to go to the 4th floor to eat, but just as he reached the stairs, he was brushed by someone who ran down. Xiao Bei dodged quickly. The person who bumped into Xiao Bei seemed to have drunk a little too much and did not notice at all. Who asked Xiao Bei to be short? This person still wanted to walk outside, but just as he took a step, an arrow was nailed to his left and right legs. Then Xiao Yuan shouted, "Kill!" and a group of children rushed forward to kick and hit this person. Although Xiao Yuan and the others did not have much strength, the places they kicked were very particular. They kicked below the ribs, between the legs, above the ears, and the temples. They had learned all this from their siblings. Fortunately, no one stabbed the back of the neck with that sharp object. That would be fatal. The person lying on the ground could not feel the kicks of others. He was lying on his stomach, and the arrow from earlier was still stuck in his leg. When he fell, a lot of it went in again. The back half of the arrow outside was broken, and the arrow shaft with a blood groove was constantly bleeding. "Xiao Yuan, come back." Zhang Xiaobao stared at the person lying on the ground and shouted. Xiao Yuan waited for the person who wanted to avenge Xiao Bei to come back. Zhang Xiaobao reached out and took the pliers from Wang Wan. He flipped the person over and pinched the arrow out of his leg. He thought for a moment and said, "We were too anxious just now and injured you. We will immediately send you to get medical treatment. If you miss work, we will also compensate. You are all dead. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? You are all finished. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. First, it was a child who dared to block my way. Next, it was you who used force. You can just wait for death." The person lying there gritted his teeth and said. Zhang Xiaobao, who had just apologized and was preparing to compensate and take responsibility, was suddenly stunned when he heard this person's words. He asked, "So you said that you saw someone deliberately bump into you in front of you? May I ask who you are? Prince? Marquis?" "I did it on purpose. There is no need for a prince or marquis. I alone am enough to deal with you. I am Yu Wenrong's advisor. Right now the master is eating upstairs. You are all dead." The person lying on the ground continued to speak arrogantly. Zhang Xiaobao closed his eyes and said helplessly, "Why are there so many problems? Advisor, right? Yu Wenrong. Isn't he busy settling the refugees? How could he let you come and cause trouble? Could it be that he doesn't care about what happened in Xinkai County at all?" As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he pulled out the 2 arrow sleeves. Following the person's scream, he reached out and took the medicine from Wang Wan. He poured it on the person's wound and said, "This matter is not entirely my fault. You bumped into my little sister, so I acted. I was indeed a little anxious. However, you clearly saw someone bumping into you. How about we call it even? Are you dreaming? You hurt me, so I will let you know my power." The person lying on the ground endured the pain and continued to shout, "Then I can only offend one more person. Yu Wenrong, right? But men, invite him down." Also, this person tried to murder an official of the imperial court, but was accidentally seen through by the official. He wanted to frame Yu Wenrong, drag him to the backyard and interrogate him. Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect things to turn out like this. However, since he bumped into his little sister and still spoke like this, then he couldn't be blamed for being ruthless. While Zhang Xiaobao was making his decision, Huayuan County was very lively. Many chefs had gathered here, and all of them wanted to show off their skills. As long as they could gain a reputation, then their value would increase in the future. Of course, the restaurants that wanted to invite them to work would have to fork out more money. Although only the chefs from around Gyeonggi province had come, there were still a lot of people. In order to let the chefs in their county win more glory, many counties insisted that several chefs be tied for first place in the regional competition. In this way, the first place could go, and there would be a lot of people in a short time. Empress Wang had been living more comfortably these days. The recuperation place on Yaowang Mountain was even better than the Four Seasons workshop below. Today was the day of the competition. In order to help the Zhang family and the Wang family, Empress Wang also came out to take a look. When the time came, she would deliberately find a chef from the Zhang family and the Wang family to say that the dishes were good. Wu Huifei, who was about to go back, also came out today. She wasn't thinking about how to help the Zhang family and the Wang family. Instead, she was thinking about how to find fault with the Zhang family and the Wang family. It might be difficult to find fault with the craftsman, but it was easy to find fault with the chef's dishes. If you added just enough salt, I could say that it was bland or salty. If you added too much salt, I could say that it was bitter. If you added too little salt, I could say that it was bland and tasteless. For others, more salt would be refreshing and less salt would be refreshing. Anyway, she could pick whatever she wanted. How could she, an imperial concubine, not be able to do this? It was nothing more than a competition with Empress Wang. Thinking of Empress Wang, Wu Huifei asked the person beside her, "Have you done what I asked you to do?" In reply to Your Highness, it has been arranged. As long as Empress Wang says something, someone will naturally carry out our plan. Your Highness, you can rest assured. Wu Huifei nodded with satisfaction. That's good. Let's go over there and have a look. When Wu Huifei arrived at the competition venue, Empress Wang followed her. Similarly, Empress Wang was also guarding against Wu Huifei. She asked the person beside her, "Xiao Zhu, do you think we really don't need to arrange for others to help?" "Your Highness, I don't think so. Miss Wang Wan has already sent someone to send us a letter. She asked us to just take a look. Of course, we shouldn't be biased towards the chefs of the Zhang family and the Wang family. We should also evaluate the truly good chefs. The Zhang family and the Wang family don't need this competition to make a name for themselves. What they value is talent," Xiao Zhu said to Xiao Zhu. In fact, she was also a little nervous. After all, what they were going to face today was different from before. When it came to food, no one could say that good was good. It was just that the taste was different. Empress Wang picked up the honey water beside her, took a small sip and said, "If that's the case, then make the arrangements. Let our people help out when the time comes." While the two sides were competing, the commoners didn't know that the commoners who came all wanted to see how good the chefs were. Of course, it would be even better if they could have a taste. However, many of the commoners knew that it wasn't their turn to have a taste. Originally, there wouldn't be many chefs competing. This was because each county planned to win with fewer chefs. The number of chefs from the surrounding counties had actually reached 400. Some of them were indeed very capable, while some were slightly weaker. This was because during the selection by the county, they would compete on the front content, such as seafood, meat, vegetables, noodles, and so on. Each category required points. Therefore, when the chefs with specialties competed, even if their points were slightly lower, they would still be recognized by the county. Seeing that all the chefs were present, the person in charge of hosting held a loudspeaker made of iron sheets in his hand and shouted to the people around him, "Everyone, please be quiet. Don't make any more noise. Listen to me, please be quiet." After shouting continuously, the commoners who were excitedly talking about what they wanted to say finally shut up. Even so, there were still people whispering to others. The host couldn't make everyone stop talking. Seeing that the voices were not as loud as before, he continued, "Everyone, today is the day of the chef's competition in Jiangji province and the surrounding counties. We are lucky to have invited the current Tang Empire's Empress Wang and Wu Huifei. Now let's welcome them." If these words were said in a place where the Zhang family and the Wang family had not been, the commoners really didn't know how to express themselves. However, the commoners in Huayuan County understood. As soon as they heard the host's words, they immediately clapped hard and didn't stop for a long time. At this time, the host hesitated at this time but still said boldly, "Let's invite Wu Huifei to say a few words." Wu Huifei was stunned at first. She didn't expect the host here to be so bold. After thinking about it, she stood up and took the loudspeaker from the host. She said to the people around her, "I'm here to take a look to see the good chef of Tang Dynasty. I'll try it when the time comes. Work hard." Wu Huifei, who really didn't know what to say at this time, said a few words casually at this time. In fact, she also knew that the others didn't care what she said, as long as she said something. Sure enough, after she said such useless words, there was a burst of applause. Perhaps even the people who clapped didn't know why they were clapping. After Wu Huifei finished speaking, the host wanted to immediately start the competition, but suddenly remembered that there was a more powerful person. If he directly announced the competition, It was estimated that his head would be moved in less than a quarter of an hour, so he said, "Wu Huifei has just said a few words to us. Now let's invite Empress Wang to say a few words." Empress Wang had been ready for a long time. She even had Wang Wan's speech in her hand. She had memorized it. She was afraid that she would forget the words in her hand, so she could read it when the time came. After standing up, she took the speaker and said to the surrounding people, "First of all, I would like to congratulate the emergence of this chef's competition. You know, from the beginning of Tang Empire until now, there has been no special chef's competition. This is a pioneering thing in the chef's industry. A magnificent feat that can let the majority of people taste the essence of delicacies. At the same time, it was not easy for Empress Wang to memorize Wang Wan's speech of 15,000 words. Although it was just a chef's competition, it included politics, military affairs, literature, art, and national relations. The people who were watching the fun were dumbfounded. If it were people like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they would definitely fall asleep. But the people here had never heard so much nonsense. At this time, when they heard Empress Wang's comments on various aspects and the prospects of the chef's industry, they admired Empress Wang from the outside. They all felt that if Empress Wang didn't say it, they would definitely not know that cooking could be related to childbirth and could be used to defend against foreign enemies. The simple people listened patiently and even felt that it was better than a direct competition. Of course, they also secretly admired the Empress. She was indeed the Empress. She knew so many things, much better than Wu Huifei. Not only were the people stunned, but Wu Huifei was also the same. She had never thought that Empress Wang, who she had always thought was very bad, could say such a thing today. It sounded very reasonable, and it was so long. What was going on? A few days ago, she just found that Empress Wang was different from before. If it was possible to compete with Empress Wang and win at that time, it would not be easy for her to compete with Empress Wang today. Once the words of Empress Wang here spread to the capital and to the emperor's ears, it would not be easy to compete with her again. Thinking of this, Wu Huifei became anxious and winked at the people around her. The people around her immediately understood what she meant and hurriedly left to gather their people. While listening to Empress Wang, they suddenly shouted, "We just want to watch the competition. What's the use of talking so much? It's better to watch the competition right now." Empress Wang was stunned for a moment, then she said with a smile, "Since there are people who don't want to listen, then I won't say any more. The people in this world are the most important. I announce that the competition officially begins." As soon as these words were said, there were cheers from below. The people didn't know much, but they knew who was good and who was bad. Look at Empress Wang. As long as someone below shouted, she would immediately stop talking. This was what an empress should be like. The host also began to talk about the rules of the competition. First, the venue would provide materials that were commonly seen, as well as firewood. Second, if anyone wanted to use their unique materials to make something, they had to tell everyone what it was first. Otherwise, they couldn't use it. In terms of whether it was poisonous or not, it was even stricter so as to avoid poisoning people. For example, if someone wanted to make a puffer fish, this was absolutely not allowed. No matter how good one was at making a puffer fish, they were not allowed to use it in the competition. This was considered a self-selected dish. And there were also a few dishes that had to be prepared. This time, not only did the competition have to determine who had the most points and who was first, they also had to determine who was first in a certain aspect. Only then could they proceed to the next competition. In other words, it didn't matter if a chef lost in total points. As long as they won in a certain aspect, it was fine. At first, Empress Wang really didn't understand why such an arrangement was made. She asked Xiao Zhu, and Xiao Zhu went over to ask again. When Xiao Zhu returned, she said, "Empress, they said that if a person wants to be the overall champion, then in theory, as long as he is second in every competition, he has a great chance. However, in many competitions, he isn't first. So if a restaurant finds those who are first in various aspects, then naturally, they will cook better things than the person who is first in total points. But who can afford to hire so many first places? Oh, I know. The Zhang family and the Wang family want to find a chef for themselves. Empress Wang understood now. Wu Huifei was also thinking about it. She was indeed smarter than Empress Wang. After hearing the rules of the competition, she immediately said to the people around her, "No matter what price we have to pay, we must invite the person who is first in all aspects. It will be better if we can invite the person who is first in total points as well." While the two sides were calculating, the competition officially began. The reason why the Tang Empire could hold a chef's competition was that the country's tax had increased, and the people's lives were gradually getting better. Even if there were still some people who were worse off than others, the overall situation was really good. However, in some places, not to mention a chef's competition, it was not easy to even have a full meal every day. Han Xuanfeng's body was completely recovered now. He didn't need to take any medicine anymore. It was unknown whether it was because his body's resistance had become stronger, or because he was supported by many good things. With his participation, the other people's work became easier. Zhou Meiling was still in charge of her lottery. Every time she won a lottery, she could earn between 1,600 to 2,300 strings of coins. Although it was less than the big deals of tens of thousands of strings of coins, the cycle of big deals was also longer. It wasn't something that could be done casually. The lottery was opened once every 3 days, and the winning rate was very high, reaching 60%. Once, Zhou Meiling only earned a little more than 100 strings of coins, and a lot of money was won by others. It was also because of that more and more people were willing to come and buy lottery tickets. The winners were happy, while the losers were naturally not convinced. Zhou Meiling didn't care about what others thought. Every 3 days, she would earn money from the Tubo royal family, nobles, and slave owners who had risked their lives to earn money. The Tubo people were originally quite wild. After encountering the lottery, they couldn't resist at all. Some people bought more in order to increase the winning rate. The rich people spent their own money directly, while the poor people had to think of other ways. Some people borrowed from others, some pawned things in pawn shops, and some went to gambling places to gamble. In the first half of a month, there was a person who only had 1 copper coin left. He went to the casino that Mi Fan was in charge of and earned 20 strings of coins. He bought a lottery ticket every 4 strings of coins. He bought 5 tickets in total, and all of them were from the same number. In the end, he really won and earned more than 3,000 strings of coins. If he used this money to live a normal life, he wouldn't have to worry about money for the rest of his life if he didn't go to a remote place. Unfortunately, after this person made money, he went to the casino. In the end, he was left with less than 100 strings of coins. This less than 100 strings of coins was used to buy a lottery ticket in one go. After winning a few times in a row, he was finally left with a little more than 10 strings of coins. Came and went quickly. However, many people didn't think this way. They only saw how others won the lottery and earned money from gambling, but they never thought or were unwilling to think about how much others lost. Some people even said that even though that person lost money in the end, he had played it once and enjoyed it once. It was better than someone who had never enjoyed it once. If he only cared about stability, he wouldn't have won money at the casino that time, and he wouldn't have had the courage to buy lottery tickets. When others heard this, they also thought about it. If they didn't try once, they would be poor. If they succeeded, they could enjoy it. If they lost, they would still be poor. It didn't matter. Many Tibetans had such thoughts, especially recently. Because 2 tribes had made a mistake but were unwilling to admit it, before the autumn harvest, the Great Tang had stopped the trade of grain and no longer sold grain to the Tibetans. Even if they used more livestock and local specialties to trade, it was still not enough. Fortunately, there were some wild vegetables at this time. They could dig them up to satisfy their hunger. Otherwise, many people would starve to death. When such a thing happened, the Tubo people didn't complain about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Instead, they attacked the 2 tribes that offended Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Very soon, the 2 tribes that wanted to take advantage of Songzni were annihilated by other tribes. The people of the 2 tribes were also captured and sent to Pengzhou. However, Pengzhou didn't accept the two people. The reason was that the two people didn't have the guts to do such a thing. There must be someone else behind the scenes. They wanted the Tubo people to tell them who was behind it. In truth, no one had ordered them to do so, but the people of Pengzhou refused to believe it. They refused to trade for food, and they refused to trade for anything else. Even if the merchants of the Great Tang wanted to trade with them, they would be stopped, and their smuggling routes would also be blocked. Without food, people could suddenly eat wild vegetables and even tree barks. However, without salt they were sad. The price of salt kept rising and there was no sign of it going down. People didn't eat salt, they naturally wouldn't have strength. Even if they were slave owners, they often had to get some salt for their slaves to eat. When they saw that their slaves didn't have any strength, in addition to using their whips, the slave owners hoped that they could get more salt. At this time, Han Xianfeng, who had recovered from his illness, appeared. He had salt. After selling all the poultry, he began to use salt to buy other things in Tubo. In fact, it wasn't a secret. This time it was a normal purchase. He bought the saffron here, which was not called that here. There was a lot of this thing now. When the people of Tubo heard that they could use this thing to exchange for salt, they went to look for it. After they finished looking for it, they went to look for it further away. Because of the preciousness of salt, the price of saffron was very low. Even so, the commoners and slave masters were willing to search for it. As people wandered further and further, of course, it became more and more chaotic. Some people found it, some didn't, some picked a lot, and some only found a little. When this happened, it was inevitable that violence would occur. In order to obtain more resources, some people didn't even pick it themselves. Instead, they formed teams and robbed others. This kind of chaos could be tolerated in Tubo, but after summer, the number of locusts in Tubo gradually increased. Not everyone could be like Yao Chong, who really commanded the people to exterminate the locusts. Many times, the people of a certain area faced the same resistance as Yao Chong when he was the first to exterminate the locusts. Not only did the people not help, they even worshipped the locusts and organized others to exterminate them. Tubo encountered such a situation. Seeing more and more locusts, the people could only pray to their gods. No one went to deal with the locusts. Even the poultry had to stop them when they went to eat the locusts. Seeing that the locusts were increasing and the saffron was almost finished, Han Xianfeng called Zhou Meiling and Mi Fan together. He said to the two, "Should we go back? Once this place becomes chaotic, I think we will be affected too." Mi Fan thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. "Okay, I will sell the casino tomorrow and let someone else take over. Let's leave. My lottery ticket is still making money. I've made a lot of money. During this time, I've probably made 20% of Tubo's money. Can we wait a few more days?" Zhou Meiling was the one who made the most money. When he heard the two discussing leaving, he was a little reluctant. Han Xianfeng looked at Zhou Meiling helplessly. "You are no different from a gambler. If a gambler doesn't want to win more money after winning, how can they lose all their money? If you really want to stay here, then you can stay by yourself. We won't accompany you." Zhou Meiling knew that when they came here, Han Xianfeng was the leader and Mi Fan was in charge of checking the situation. Hearing Han Xianfeng say that, he unhappily said, let's go. I will sell this lottery ticket. When the time comes, we will take the money and leave together." Chapter 752. While Han Xianfeng and the other two were transporting the money back and preparing to leave, the plague of locusts in Tubo had already begun to take shape. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao had left something for Tubo to save their lives, which was the livestock. If they were commanded well, they might be able to recover some losses. However, whether or not they would use them was not up to Zhang Xiaobao to decide. This was the end of Wang Chong's revenge. What was left was to take advantage of the fact that Tubo did not have enough food after the autumn harvest to trade with them. That was another matter. After all, this place should have belonged to Great Tang. Because of its geographical relationship with other countries, Zhang Xiaobao did not want to drag things out too much. Wang Wan had told him that Great Tang, or rather, Great Qin, had once fought with Arabia and lost miserably. Even though there were many reasons, a loss was a loss. Wang Wan was prepared to bring this war forward and personally lead the army there to see if Arabia could continue to win. Any small step on the battlefield was a large step in history. Thus, Zhang Xiaobao began to plan for Tubo, wanting to make this place belong to Great Tang as soon as possible. He did not intend to use local people to govern this place, as that would cause problems. The better method was to migrate, moving many people from Tubo to Great Tang. This was the first step, starting from agriculture. When the time came, he would use the second step, and the second step would be to slowly break down Tubo. Zhang Xiaobao also said that it was easy to bring people from Tubo to Great Tang, but the difficult part was the system. Even though Great Tang was working hard, it was still a feudal society. The people who were unwilling to change were not the slaves or the slave masters, but the nobles. This matter was more troublesome, and he would have to focus on this in the future. Han Xianfeng and the other two did not know about Zhang Xiaobao's plan. They left, bringing with them many slaves. Some were bought from nobles at large sums of money, some were exchanged with lottery tickets, and some were won from gambling. In total, there were more than 7,000 slaves. The army marched toward the Great Tang. In order to prevent others from sending soldiers to attack them, Han Xianfeng raised the flag of the seedlings after 2 days of marching. Furthermore, he had already arranged for someone to report to the Great Tang so that they could send reinforcements. This move was indeed effective. Originally, there were 4 Tubo nobles who wanted to target this group. However, when they saw the flag, 3 of them immediately backed out. They were cowardly and didn't dare to touch Han Xuanfeng's troops. However, there was one noble who didn't believe that the flag was real. He thought that someone had made a fake flag to trick him. So, when he saw that the other 3 had left, he didn't withdraw his troops. Instead, he increased the number of troops. Now, there were 6 cavalrymen and 400 infantrymen. Han Xianfeng wasn't an ordinary person. He immediately knew that someone was plotting against him. It wasn't easy for 1,000 people to deal with 7,000 people. He understood that the other party knew that the slaves on his side had just been gathered and weren't very united yet. Therefore, when Mi Fan kept saying that she hadn't been feeling well recently, Han Xianfeng, who was the leader, showed his ability. His family was a family of officials. He knew very well how to win people's hearts. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been sent here. On this day, when Mi Fan found him and said that she was having trouble breathing, Han Xianfeng stopped the army. The 7,000 slaves formed a large circle. Han Xianfeng stood in the middle of the circle and shouted at the slaves, "Do you know who I am?" The slaves didn't know who Han Xianfeng was. After disguising himself and speaking fluent Tubo, Han Xianfeng was just another slave master from Tubo. The only difference was that this slave master was nicer to them. He was also very smart and knew how to make a fake flag of the logistics camp in Izhou to trick them. Perhaps he could guess what the slaves were thinking. Han Xianfeng continued to shout, "Do you think I'm from Tubo?" Some of the slaves nodded, some were confused, and some stared at Han Xianfeng, waiting for him to continue. "Wrong, I'm not from Tubo. Don't think that I can speak Tubo. Do you see that flag? That's the flag of the logistics camp in Izhou, but that flag isn't mine." Han Xianfeng continued to shout. The Tubo slaves looked like they knew it. Some even muttered softly. Most of them thought to themselves, "If I knew, you were just lying to others. Can you say it all at once? Look at the people around you. They're about to lose their confidence." Mi Fan covered her chest with her hand and said to Han Xianfeng unhappily, "I'll say it all now." Han Xianfeng observed Mi Fan's expression and knew that there was going to be big trouble. Mi Fan was like this. She was very sensitive to danger. According to the young master and young lady, it was her 6th sense. It was an existence that was beyond the 5 senses. It was very magical. Han Xianfeng nodded to Mi Fan and took out another flag. He opened it and said to the slaves, "This is my flag. Do you see Dao Miao wearing black clothes and a black hat? I am the person in charge of spying for the Zhang family and the Wang family in Sanshui County of Tang Dynasty. My code name is Dark Knight." The slaves' eyes suddenly widened. They thought that Han Xianfeng would say which noble he was. They didn't expect him to take out another flag and say that he was from the Zhang family and the Wang family in Sanshui County. Hearing that, they didn't think he was lying. But even if the slaves were willing to accept Han Xuanfeng's identity, they were still worried that he would lie. They looked at Mi Fan and Zhou Meiling. Zhou Meiling spoke first. "Don't look at me. I joined later. I'm not from the Zhang family and the Wang family. Look at him. Mi Fan is from Sanshui County's Zhang family and the Wang family in Sky Team. He's in charge of special situations." While Zhou Meiling was speaking, Mi Fan took out her own flag and put on her own unique symbol. She was the captain of Sky Team. She had people who raised eagles and dogs. "What are you doing here?" One of the bolder slaves asked the three of them. "Why are we here?" "Of course we're here to take revenge on Zhang Xiaobao's order. Yu Tubo sent people to make trouble there. How can our young master let Tubo go just because they attacked him once? This time we're here to take revenge. But our young master doesn't want to hurt too many Tubo people. That's why he wants us to buy as many slaves as possible. When you get to the Tang Empire, you won't be slaves anymore. You'll be farmers. Although farmers have to listen to their masters, there's a difference between farmers and slaves. As long as a farmer has enough money, he can leave the master's family. It's just that Zhang family and the Wang family don't want to leave even if they have more money. In the Tang Empire, your lives will be 100 times better than now. You won't have to worry about food or clothes. You won't have to rest for less than 6 hours a day. When you have your own children, you can even send them to school to study. Right now, the opportunity is right in front of you. Someone wants to keep us in Tubo. Are you prepared to fight for a better life in the Tang Empire or continue to suffer in Tubo? Make your choice." Han Xianfeng shouted at the slaves. At the same time, he stared at a few spots in the crowd. After he finished shouting, the slaves still didn't know how to choose. They didn't trust Han Xianfeng. If they chose to fight back, they might die. At this moment, someone in the crowd shouted, "Master, now that you mention it, I remember that I've heard your name before. You're really from the Zhang family and the Wang family of Sanshui County. You're Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. I don't know what kind of economic war Zhang Xiaobao won, but I remember Demon Fiend Cuckoo. I'm willing to follow you back to the Tang Empire. I've heard that the people of the Tang Empire are living well, especially the Zhang family and the Wang family. I've decided that from now on, if anyone wants me to return to Tubo, I'll fight with my life on the line." As soon as this person finished shouting, another person started to shout. More and more people started to shout from the other side. The other slaves were also moved by the shouts. Each and every one of them felt that they had a goal in their hearts. Seeing this situation, Han Xianfeng and the others let out a sigh of relief. They had been the ones to call out the slaves, afraid that the slaves wouldn't cooperate. Seeing so many people follow suit, Han Xianfeng knew that even if the other side had 1,000 armed people, they wouldn't be able to beat 7,000 people. "You really know how to lie. Look at them. They think you're telling the truth," Zhou Meiling said to Han Xianfeng. Han Xianfeng paused, looked at Zhou Mei and coldly replied, "I'm telling the truth. I'm not lying to anyone. The young master really wants to do this. He doesn't want everyone to be slaves. Slaves don't need to be paid, and they don't need to pay rent. However, slaves don't need to work as hard as farmers. Really? He's that kind. Slaves, you just need to feed them." Zhou Meiling hadn't met Zhang Xiaobao before. Her impression of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family came from other sources. She was especially upset that she didn't get admitted to the hospital during the exam. "Course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Let's see if they can fight against the people chasing after us," Han Xianfeng said. He looked at the slaves and continued shouting. Don't worry. As long as you escape this time, you'll have a good life. Otherwise, you'll continue to be bullied. You won't be able to eat or dress well. Even if you find a good woman, those Tubo nobles will take her to their houses and enjoy her before you can take her. If you're a man, you should act like a man and protect your woman. You can't be bullied when you're about to be together. If you're a woman, you should think about whether you'll have a good life in the future. As long as you go to Tang, not only will you be able to eat and dress well, but you'll also have all kinds of cosmetics and mirrors. In order to make the slaves love each other, Han Xianfeng was willing to do anything. He even talked about cosmetics and used women to inspire men's courage. At this time, Mi Fan suddenly said to Han Xianfeng, "Let's go." "I'm fine. I feel very comfortable now. I think there will be a change soon." "What change?" Zhou Meiling asked. "How would I know? Anyway, there will be a change." Mi Fan didn't say anything else after replying. He indeed didn't feel as uncomfortable as before. He even felt that his breathing was more comfortable than usual. Hearing Mi Fan's words, Han Xianfeng could only choose to believe him. He gave some orders and continued to lead the 7,000 slaves. There weren't many tents. Only the 3 of them had 2 tents. They didn't have much luggage either. When they left, they let the slaves carry the rations themselves. The slaves were used to sleeping and resting in the wild. They didn't care about tents at all. Therefore the group moved faster. They were still 3 days away from Jinchuan, and the 1,000 people behind them also sped up. Before they could catch up, 100 cavalrymen appeared in front of Han Xianfeng and the others. There were also a few eagles flying in the sky. Although there weren't many of them after seeing the riders, Han Xianfeng finally collapsed. He said to Zhou Meiling, "Help me up. I can't take it anymore. If you want to die, die far away. Don't die in front of me," Zhou Meiling said coldly, but she still helped Han Xianfeng up. The riders didn't stop. They rushed to the back of the slave group. Seeing the flags of the riders, the slaves believed Han Xianfeng's words. The flags belonged to the Chamber of Commerce. There were also seedlings on them. "Let's go. Let's go back." Han Xianfeng waved his hand and rode forward. The slaves, who were originally running out of strength, did not know where they found the strength to run again. Their faces were full of yearning for the future, and they ran quickly. After half an hour, the 100 cavalrymen also encountered the 1,000 people who were chasing after the group of slaves. The 100 cavalrymen stopped their horses and stayed where they were without saying a word, nor did they show their weapons. But even so, the people on the other side all stopped in their tracks. When the 1,000 people were in position, the captain of the 100 cavalrymen shouted to the other side, "The 7,000 slaves in front of us are the people that our young master and young lady want." After saying this, the 100 cavalrymen turned their horses around and chased after the group of slaves. The 1,000 people sent by the other nobles looked at each other. They didn't know what to do. They thought about the 2 tribes that had been destroyed by the other nobles. In the end, they didn't dare to chase. While Han Xianfeng met a benefactor and saved the group from danger, Hang Yiwei also met a benefactor in Baoxing County. At least that was what he said. He was the county magistrate of Xinkai County, the one with the surname Yan. After he took over the position in the county, he read the proposal brought back by Li Linfu. He had originally decided to live a peaceful life, but in the end, he couldn't control the thoughts in his heart. He took a leave of absence from the county and ran to Baoxing County. He Yiwei was currently in the Yamen receiving county magistrate Yan, who claimed to be a benefactor. He Yiwei didn't receive him in his study, nor the signing room. Instead, he received him in the room where he usually received commoners. Here, he could speak freely and wouldn't arouse suspicion. "County Magistrate Yan, you came all the way from Xinkai County. I'm very touched. Have you eaten lunch? Why don't we eat together?" He Yiwei didn't believe in benefactors. If there really was one, It definitely wasn't County Magistrate Yan. It was Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He asked County Magistrate Yan if he had eaten on purpose. He came all the way here and it wasn't even noon yet. How could he have eaten lunch? County Magistrate Yan also heard the sense of distance in He Yiwei's words, but he didn't care. It wasn't like he hadn't encountered such a person before. In the end he still dealt with him. Thus, he nodded and followed He Yiwei's words. Then I'll have to trouble you, County Magistrate He. I really haven't eaten. Someone bring up the food used to receive guests. It's the kind that is usually served to commoners. County Magistrate He didn't lack a meal. Since the other party wanted to stay and eat, then let him eat. He ordered the people standing outside the door. The reason why he said the food was for commoners was because he was afraid that there weren't enough commoners today and they wouldn't be able to finish it. Whether it was throwing it away or letting others eat more, it wasn't worth it. County Magistrate Yan didn't know. When he heard He Yiwei's words, he was puzzled. Why was there a provision for commoners to eat? Since when did the Yamen have such a rule? Then he understood. It must be because He Yiwei didn't want to treat him well, so he gave such an order. Every county magistrate would always give a secret signal to his subordinates when he gave an order. It was estimated that this meal would not taste good. Thinking about this in his heart, County Magistrate Yan, who had been treated coldly before, didn't care. It was just a bad meal. As long as He Yiwei could eat it, then he could eat it too. If it was divided into plates, then he could take what was on He Yiwei's plate. What could He Yiwei do? He changed the plate for He Yiwei too. May I know why County Lieutenant Yan is here this time? He Yiwei didn't ask about the important person. Instead he asked about something else. County Magistrate Yan pretended to smile mysteriously and said to He Yiwei, "Don't you know you're in big trouble? What do you mean?" He Yiwei suddenly became nervous and asked, "Do you know what this place is?" County Magistrate Yan didn't answer, but asked another question. "Is the feng shui bad?" He Yiwei said in that direction. County Magistrate Yan was still smiling. "Oh no. Has nothing to do with feng shui. It's a matter of money. Your Buxing County is not normal now. Think about it, how much money can you make now? How much was it before? You're the county magistrate of such a good place. Are the others convinced?" "You're not convinced?" He Yiwei asked. "Course I'm convinced. What am I? But if someone's ability is great, will they also be convinced? If it's just a little money, it's fine. The main thing is that many officials here are studying here. You're taking advantage of this. Do you think others won't make trouble for you? Plus you told the people how much money the county has. If you do this, won't the other counties learn from you? If they learn, then they won't be able to keep their greedy share. If they don't learn, then what's the point of being an official? Do you understand?" County Magistrate Yan analyzed to He Yiwei like an expert. He Yiwei's face finally changed and became very ugly. County Magistrate Yan thought his words had moved He Yiwei. When he was about to continue, He Yiwei waved his hand and said to County Magistrate Yan, "Thank you for your concern, County Magistrate Yan. Like you said, I won't be here for long. I'll leave after the autumn harvest and let someone else take over. Do you know where I'm going?" "Where?" County Magistrate Yan asked, puzzled. "I don't know. Come, the food is here. First." He Yiwei originally wanted to tell County Lieutenant Yan not to think that his side was bad and that his future was smooth, but when he was about to say it, he hesitated. Coincidentally, the servants brought the food over and invited him to eat. County Magistrate Yan still wanted to ask more questions, but when he saw someone bring the food over, he had to shut his mouth and stared at the food. He wanted to see what He Yiwei was going to use to trick him. But when he saw the food, County Magistrate Yan was stunned. There were 2 dishes and a soup. The dishes were scrambled eggs with chives and bean sprouts with meat. The soup was spinach soup with a layer of oil on top. There were also 2 pieces of fermented bean curd and 2 pieces of stinky tofu. There was also a plate of radish strips and pickles. The main dish was a cake made of rice flour and rice flour. Before County Magistrate Yen could ask, Hiiwei said, "This place is used to entertain the people. Sometimes the people live far away and come here early in the morning. It's either noon or night. We can't let them starve, so we ask people to prepare some food in advance every day. It's a pity to leave it here. Why don't we eat it? We don't prepare much every day. If more people come, we will ask people to make more for them. This stinky tofu is the best. If you came yesterday, you could eat the salted stinky egg. I can eat 2 bowls of rice with half a salted egg. Try this dish." While speaking, Hiiwei ate first. He used his chopsticks to pick up some stinky tofu and put it in his mouth. He took a bite of the cake and enjoyed it very much. County Magistrate Yen didn't know what to do. When Hiiwei took a second bite, he used his chopsticks to pick up a piece of scrambled eggs with chives and put it in his mouth. The taste was very ordinary. It wasn't particularly delicious, but it wasn't bad either. County Magistrate Yen didn't understand why County Magistrate Yen would prepare food for the people. He felt that it was better to take care of his own business first. He drank 2 mouthfuls of the soup and said to Hiiwei, "Do you want to not be envied by others and still be able to make money? You see, what you are doing is wrong. You are giving food to the people, but aren't you afraid that the people will come here every day to eat? What will the officials of the surrounding counties think if they know about this?" Hiiwei didn't want to talk to County Magistrate Yen, but he saw that County Magistrate Yen was not going to give up. He put down his chopsticks and asked humbly, "What can County Magistrate Yen teach me?" "Sigh. That's the right thing to do. It's good that you know you're wrong. Come, I'll tell you a way so that you don't have to offend anyone and can earn money for yourself. These words have entered your ears from my mouth. If you tell anyone else, I won't admit it." County Magistrate Yen put on a look of educating others and whispered into Hiiwei's ear, "You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.